Good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good morning. This is the type of news. I'm Dr. Spearman.
I'm Bruce Robinson.
And
It's been a long couple of weeks there, Captain.
I know I came straight from a slight concussion. Sickness.
Yeah, he did have a concussion, actually.
Then I got the flu.
Yeah.
And then I went into the regimen training when I was healthy.
Yeah. So he's been out of the count for a while because, we like to say crazy things that when man has a concussion,
yeah,
he's no good to me.
No, not at all. And then I would have said a whole heap of other crazy stuff.
Like me. That's my job.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of people are asking us to talk about the
mass exodus.
Movement of your people.
Yeah.
Should we start playing some Bob Marley? Or should we start reading the Bible? Which one?
I feel like
both of which are outrageous.
Yeah, this mass exodus, so they say. I mean, it's only 2 people, but unfortunately,
2 out of 12.
Yeah, 2 out of 12.
That is a massive margin.
I'm sorry, I should have laughed. But
that is damn near 20% gone.
Yep, and it marks one of the brightest lights.
But not just 2 people going, 2 heavyweights going.
Yeah, one of the brightest lights. And then one of the old distinguished lights, so you lost one from both ends of the spectrum. But I feel like the OBA's mass exodus didn't start there. It started with Nick Neighborhood Camp. Because
I wouldn't call that an exodus, more of a outing.
Yeah, but I mean, it coincides with their crumbling, because it's just decision after decision that's piss poor. But I feel as though this mass exodus is kind of being looked at as the OBA's defeat and just theirs alone. But a lot of folks are realizing
good for the PLP.
Yeah, a lot of people are realizing that means
it bodes well for both sides.
Yeah,
it doesn't bode well for both sides.
Yeah,
it's bad for both sides. Because if a government doesn't have an opposition, then what are they?
Not only that, but I think more along the lines of if you as a PLP now have no one to oppose you effectively, that means that the people are looking to you with an extra magnifying glass. Because going on the days, because PLP went into the House as a victory, and it was
an unprecedented victory.
Yeah, but the election may continue. The PLP didn't switch into governing as much as they switched into trying to do whatever they could to discredit the OBA, even after victory. But now that the OBA is barely an entity, that where's your get out of jail free card? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it was the same thing with Colonel Birch. He blundered, made a massive blunder, and his get out of jail free card was the last government. But how long is that going to go with an OBA that is barely relevant now?
Barely existent.
How well will you be able to use that to justify your mistakes? And how well will that bode for the people who are underrepresented by the opposition?
And if the PLP win those 2 seats that are now available...
Well, I feel like at that point, the OBA might as well not even show up. I hate to say it. I mean, show up to Parliament and represent the people that voted you in. But I mean, honestly, yeah. And I feel like that was my issue with the departure of Mr. Barron, was that, prior to his departure, we sporadically saw him in the House. So I feel like with that, his step down to me rubs me the wrong way versus with Grant Gibbons. Because Grant Gibbons put in
25 years of... I mean, I can understand Grant resigning because it's like... Look, I'm not calling him old, but...
Yeah.
He old. Like, he's like, I've been doing this... He's been literally in politics the same amount of time that I've been alive. And I want to... I mean, if Jeff wants to come speak to us to give us a more in-depth for the reason for him resigning, please come talk to us, because we would love that. Because I understand he did the video with Burmemes, but while I appreciated the video, I didn't feel that it really dug into, I felt it didn't dig deep enough.
Yeah.
That's not a criticism for Burmemes. I just would like more information.
I think that at the end of the day, it's like, okay, if you want to focus on your son, that's admirable.
That is very admirable.
Like, I'm not going against the reason, but what I am saying is that politics is a job that is not like other jobs. It's a job where people literally vote you in. So they take their time to vote you in, and then they pay a portion of their paycheck to sustain you to do that job. So when you say, okay, I want to step back and focus on my son in a time where the opposition needs you, like the people that are being underrepresented, really, they need you to be that voice in the house. You choose to kind of step down at a time where, people who have sons of our own, or brothers, or people that they support who are dependents, are still paying a percentage to sustain you while you weren't even in the house. And then you basically come back to quit. So
another thing that's worrying me about the OBA exodus is they've been in opposition for 10 months, and already some of their members are running for the hills.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them seem disinterested. Let's ask you, let us know in the comments. Is the OBA a savable sinking ship, or is the hole too big to fill?
I'll answer that. No, hole's too big to fill.
I was trying to be diplomatic. I was trying to be nice. What?
No, because at the end of the day, you now have a government, right, where you have even members of the ruling house basically asking for an opposition to pretty much give us somebody who can complete our government. Our government is not complete with an opposition.
Well, the thing is, you can't box in a ring with a dead opponent.
Yeah. And also, I do feel like this is a ticking time bomb for PLP as well, because they have a history of turning on one another.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't specify that to the PLP. I would specify that to all governments with absolute power, because and yes, I'm sorry, but I use the term absolute power in the sense that they own majority of the House, so literally anything that is tabled will go through. They have the majority, and a gross majority at that. So, whether you want to say it or not, it's still technically absolute power. I'm not saying that I know they're saying that absolute power corrupts absolutely. I'm not saying that in the slightest. But they have 24 members of a House versus 10 with 2 ambiguous seats. That is not even fair. Now, we play a video game on the computer, and when you're about to fight your opponent, it always gives you a bar of the likelihood of winning. They have 90% of that bar.
Yeah. And with all of these shining lights kind of leaving, because the OBA has yet to regroup. And we've been saying this since they lost. But it's this now mass exodus is kind of Miss Atherton and Miss Scott are kind of in a house on fire, just oh, this is great, this is fine. And it's time for you now to either wrangle your party and wrangle people that support you, or just step down and start wasting people's time.
Frankly, I've even gotten a few phone calls from people asking me, why haven't you told your dad to take a shadow ministry? Well, my father's one of the more vocal members in the House.
Mm-hmm.
However, at the same time, look, when me and my dad talk to each other, we talk about father-son stuff. We're not going to discuss politics. We leave that for the politicians. But if I was him, would I take a shot at ministry? No, I wouldn't. I would not. Because what's the point? I'm not saying that he shouldn't because it's dead. I'm saying that, is it worth it taking on the stress when everybody's literally leaving, and we don't know the history, we don't know the future for the OBA. We don't know we haven't seen a plan to see anything. We haven't heard who they're going to be rolling out the next into those 2 constituencies. I would love to find that out, but we don't. We've heard from Duncan saying, oh, there's no max exodus. We heard from Gene saying, oh, we're unified, but we don't see that. What you say and what we see are 2 completely different things, and that's what's worrying, because the OBA has been in opposition for 10 months, and in those 10 months, all we've seen them do is trip, stumble, fall, and crumble.
And leave. So, again.
It's a little worrying, because this doesn't simply affect the OBA, this affects the PLP, and this affects the people. Because if the people that support you feel that their voices are being heard, how can you expect them to vote for you in the next election?
Yeah, and then you have this cryptocurrency thing going on, right? Where Mr. Burt he had a fantastic interview on Bloomberg. I think he spoke.
He did very well. I watched it. I'm like, I have a little bit of reservations about cryptocurrency, but not enough for me to directly be like, no.
But keep in mind, though, that what he did stipulate out there is he basically blatantly told the United Kingdom no on global television. You know what I mean? Which, because the United Kingdom passed a bill which said that they want like a register. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, these are times where with big things like us being an overseas territory, getting a decree that was made law by the UK and having our government refuse it, and then on top of that, you have cryptocurrency, which is iffy. It has a lot of controversy being tabled, and we don't have an opposition to show the other side of these big issues.
No, I mean, well, I do agree that the premier spoke very well. I was rather impressed with him during the interview.
Yeah.
It's just we have nothing to counteract that. I'm not saying that that needs to be counteracted. Well, it does need to be counteracted because everything that is tabled, every action needs a reaction, and what we're seeing is action. And after 5 actions, we get a reaction to the first action. And it's just like that.
Yeah, and something like that needs to be weighed in and debated fiercely in the House so that the people can commit to the idea that we are basically telling the UK to, shove it. Which, to me, I feel like we shouldn't be grouped in there with the other overseas territories anyway, because we've had a stellar record of, we've been great. We've been green.
Yeah, we've been fine.
We've had that great regulatory, and like he spoke and he said very well, we have probably one of the best regulators. So I feel like, yeah, we should tell the UK no. However, for those that aren't able to make up their mind, the opposition needs to be there to debate that topic, and the PLP has to make sure that the people know fully what's going on before going on a global television network and saying, well, we're just not going to do it. It will happen when we decide it will happen, which I like the strength of it all.
I like the goals of it.
Make sure that your people are being informed about, you taking such a stark stance against the UK.
In this focusing on the OBA, we still are not focusing on a lot of other things that are going down. We still haven't heard anything about education. At least not to my knowledge.
No.
We still haven't heard much else from the BTA. I haven't heard anything about this hotel being built in St. George's.
Not recently, no.
Not recently. It's been a while. I haven't heard anything about. I mean, Mr. Minister Kane's been busy. We see that he's been busy. He spoke to the school children this weekend. Good on that. The health minister, I'm happy to see the Minister of Health a lot more active in things because my mother works at the hospital and she's like, no, Minister Wilson, she has spoken to her, she's like, do you guys have everything you need? And I like that. I like to see that. That's great. But I haven't heard anything about the sugar tax. I haven't heard anything about immigration. As far as I'm concerned, is the sugar tax going in?
Oh, it is.
It's going in.
Like
when?
What she put out something where she said that she was gonna take on the criticisms, and I think she made a few amendments to the sugar tax. But
were those made publicly available?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but
we'll have to look that up.
Yeah, but I think that it has not been at the forefront like it should be, and I do agree that. What has been on the headlines is the OBA's destruction.
But what we need to be focusing on is everything that we just spoke about.
We need to be focused on the party that's in power.
Yeah, but the problem is, as long as the party that's in power has such a bigger arm than the opposition, as literally the opposition is like withering and dying, it's...
Because, it doesn't even need to be so many seats to be a strong opposition.
No, you can have a strong opposition with 12 seats. You just need to have a strong vocal opposition. And I've been in the House of Assembly, and I've seen each of the OBA members quiet.
And I mean, Donkey got little rockers in there.
No.
Cryptocurrency.
Donkey gets his rockers in there. My dad gets his rockers in there. Jeff would speak up occasionally when it came. Aunt Pat would get up there, but it's a lot of it's too much quiet.
But there's no cohesion. Like I mean, like we criticized the PLP about the exact same thing when they were opposition, and it's providing alternative plans. Like if you are gonna go up there, and you are gonna, because basically what Premier Wright is saying is that this is going to really boost our economy. Like this is us stepping into the 21st century, in the future of,
and which is great. The initiative of stepping into the future is something that we've been saying needs to be done in Bermuda for years.
Well, my point is the opposition. If you are going to challenge cryptocurrency, you need to provide an alternative way that our economy can grow into the future. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to say, well, no, we shouldn't do cryptocurrency because of this and that and this and that. But I think it'll be more effective, like we told the PLP.
Like we told everybody.
It'd be more effective for you to say, I don't think we should do this, but here's what the opposition has done is research on, and we think this is a better alternative. Or we don't like the way that you're doing the casino. So here's an alternative of how we think you can regulate this.
Well, they did have an alternative, but he got fired, and then his partner got slapped with a gag order. So.
Well, yeah, but remember that's not in the house, is it?
Well.
So who could continue that fight in the house? The opposition can.
What opposition?
Exactly.
My dad.
That's the problem.
Like Alan Dunkley?
You can fire Alan Dunkley. You can slap your boy with a gag order, but you can't gag order the opposition.
No. Well, you shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, but this is.
But it seems like the opposition doesn't even have a voice to gag.
And with the country going in the directions it's going, we're about to make really big decisions that can either boost us for the next generation, or completely catapult us into nothingness. Because honestly, we are walking a very fine line, and I don't know if we stress this enough. We are being targeted, in association with the other tax havens. We are being grouped in that group with tax havens, and we're not a tax haven. But we are walking that fine line, and right now, you need an opposition to check every single decision made by the government. Because if the opposition isn't checking every decision, then that means the government is saying, okay, well, I guess we're doing all right. And if there's no criticism, they're just going to keep moving and moving. And if there's nobody to say, no, wait, you can do that better. And I've seen that the PLP is willing to implement some things that the OBA has done.
Mm-hmm.
So that shows that if the opposition did bring a good point to the table, I believe the PLP would probably take it on. Because at the end of the day...
They're not stupid.
Yeah, they're not. They're very intelligent. And I do believe that where we are heading right now...
They say some dumb shit.
Well, they all do. They all do.
Everybody does.
Yeah, they all say. But I feel like on the rickety line that we're on, an opposition needs to be there to be like, why exactly would you do cryptocurrency when you can do this? Or I've seen Australia or another country do this instead of cryptocurrency, and they've seen a rise in their GDP or whatever. Like I want to see stuff like that. I don't want to see people just standing up there and saying, well, no.
And the thing is, it's not that we have bad politicians or left in the OBA. I believe that everyone that is still in the OBA is a strong enough politician and is a strong enough voice on their own. They're just not speaking up as much as we need them to speak up.
Because the leader is not galvanizing her party. It's no strategy. The deputy and the leader both don't seem to have a strategy of galvanizing and wrangling.
And we want them to have a strategy. Remember, this is not us dogging them. This is us constructively criticizing what we need to happen.
Yeah.
Like we're not saying what we're saying to try and demoralize the OBA. We're not saying what we're saying to try to beat them while they're down. We're saying this so y'all can pick your asses up and do your jobs.
Yeah, because we need it. Because
we do.
The PLP is putting forward a lot of initiatives that can help the country.
But the thing is, if this keeps going the way, I'd give it 6 months. 6 months before a new party comes along.
And if that's the case...
8 if I'm being generous.
Well, we need one.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I think that the people aren't upset with the two that we have. It's just if one of the two options is literally you've got this massive tree that is doing all these other things and planting all this stuff, and then you've got this dying, withering, wilting, unwatered, dead carcass.
Yeah.
Which can come back to life, because everybody knows you can bring. Well, you can bring that
Yeah,
back.
well, I guess some of a green
throw some water and some fertilizer on there, you're gonna be all right. But
I feel like they have too much fertilizer. They covered in a lot of
why? Because it's too much shit.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, yeah, jackass. But it's just like we're just concerned, and it's a little worrying because we see a trend, and it's not a trend that we believe needs to be done.
Yeah.
So it's a little worrying, but
because I don't want to see any politician be able to go without getting checked. You know, like if you're in a house and it's like Jeff Barron said, he brought up Operation Ceasefire as termination.
Do we still need Operation Ceasefire?
But this is my thing. If you brought up that, right, Mr. King said, I'll address it in your house. Mr. Barron resigned. So
same week, right?
Yeah, so it's like, this is what I mean. If the opposition or members of the opposition are going to bring up a point, the PLP always says, I'll see you in your house. So it's like, they're looking to make our government work. You know what I mean? And of course, they're going to do what all politicians do, which is going to make their party look better than the other. They're going to stand together. But honestly, that's what you would need from a ruling house and an opposition. Our problem is that the PLP will always believe they're right and that their course of action is right, even though there are a bit of discrepancies with cryptocurrency. There are a lot of discrepancies with the casino regulation, and these concerns are up to the opposition to voice because they are the representatives of us, the people that basically oppose the government as far as when it comes to policies and stuff. Like, we want to see the Carfax, you know what I mean? And that's just really it. You know what I mean? Like, where you at? You know what I mean? Like, we could do it. You put me in the house, and I'll ham up Mr. Birch. I'll ham him up about that trash. Oh yeah. You put me in there, I ham him up about cryptocurrency. I'm not a finance person, but I'll do a little research. You know what I mean? I ask a question. You put me in there, I'll ham up somebody about a sugar tax. No problem. Boom. I'll be there. Wham. Where you at? I ain't afraid. What you gonna do? Speaker of House telling me leave? I ain't gonna leave. How about that? Yeah. You gonna leave. Yeah. That's right. That's what I think. That's where I'm at. I'll go in there. One man opposition. Okay? Yeah. That's where we're heading right now. Yeah. Boom. Boom. In fact, you know what? I think that's the next episode. We are going to tackle cryptocurrency. Yeah. Boom. That's been this type of news. I'm Dr. Spearman. That's Bruce Robbins. We can take on cryptocurrency. That's what I want to do. And I take on the cryptocurrency. And then no one can tell me how I can spend my money and what I'm going to do. I'm going to take on, I don't like that one line cash.